Davey, coming off the back of a good result of the weekend, does your job get a little bit easier when you meet teams around you?
I think you get to enjoy it. I think it was a big game. I don't think it was title defining. If we lost the game, I think we still have opportunities to compete for the league title. But it's a big win for us, puts a wee bit of pressure on Falkirk, doesn't it? But as I said, I'm not really want to go down this route. I'd rather just focus on us. The next game, you go to Airdrie, there's no divine right to go to Airdrie and pick 3 points up or even pick a point up. So either sitting bottom of the league. I've watched a lot of their games, I've been a wee bit unlucky. I think when momentum's going against you, it's really difficult to shift that, and you've seen it with ourselves last year. So I think it'll be a difficult game of football on Saturday coming, and I don't really think last Saturday plays a part on this Saturday's game, in all honesty.
The first goal of the season for Tetty put me a bit more confidence. Is this the kickstart that he needed this year?
I think so. I think the big Tetty, I think he put himself under a lot of pressure, and maybe I put him under a lot of pressure also in terms of my expectations levels. I thought he was very, very good for us in the Premier League, and I was unbelievably excited to see him playing in the Champ, because maybe I underestimated the Champ slightly in terms of, I thought our players would have much more of an impact than maybe what they've had, but I think that's more due to me underestimating the level, and just thinking it's going to be a given. But I think the level's a lot better than what I gave it credit for, and I did respect the level, but I was here 6 years ago, but I did respect the level, so I probably put a lot of expectation on Tetty in terms of demands, wanting more from him. Kind of never really quite hit the heights we didn't. It was a new squad, it was a new group. It was also difficult for the players that were here last year to bond with the players that were coming into the building. And then he got an injury, it kind of set him back a wee bit. And I thought the last 2-3 games he's showed a real hunger, it looks like there's a wee bit of weight off his shoulders. Me and Tetty had a good heart-to-heart a couple of weeks ago, to be honest. Agent was over, it was very, very constructive. And I think it's easy to forget he's a young boy at the other side of the world, staying over here, can feel isolated at times, he stays himself. So I think it's not just as easy to expect players to just turn up and perform on a Saturday. I think there's a lot more to that. I think the last 2-3 games he's been really, really good, and do you know what, I'm just delighted. What a finish, he's got that in his locker, and hopefully the big man can take a wee bit of confidence into the next game. But I felt he was very, very good on Saturday. I thought he's a wee change in form the last 2-3 weeks, but I think he was put under a lot of pressure by me, and I think he probably put himself under a lot of expectations also from himself, of what he expected, probably hit that wee dip in form. And again, as a club, staff, fans, we've got to support the players through kind of hitting dips in form also, as well as the moments like Saturday, big moments that we know players like Tetty can produce. It's about supporting them on the kind of the more negative moments when they're maybe going through a wee dip in form themselves. So honestly, I say to the staff after the game, I'm delighted we won the game, obviously, delighted for the group, but I was delighted that Tetty scored the winner.
It was quite bizarre. I don't really watch the warm-ups. I've got a wee bit of time, but it was literally a carbon copy. The last thing he done when he left the field was he took a touch and wrapped it in the top bins. And
spent a wee bit of time during the week with him there, working on different finishes. Tetty can hit off either foot. You've probably seen that. He hit last year his first goal, Raith Rovers penalty, left foot. And then went to Parkhead, whatever, the Scottish Cup, a touch after, wasn't long after, and then bent one in with his right foot. He can hit off both feet. He's adamant he's left-footed. Me, Chipper, nearly are adamant he's right-footed. Honestly, if you say to Tetty, he'll tell you he's left-footed. We're adamant he's right-footed, but I think that's testament to his technical ability, because he's comfortable off his left, and we think he's better off his right. And it just shows you. So we've done a wee bit of different types of finishing on the lead up to the game, and obviously chipper and nearly do stuff on the park before the game. He does that quite a bit. That's his finish. He's got that reverse in him. He's a really good. He's a very, very accomplished finisher. I was delighted for him.
It's a huge win, which was first v second, Davy, but also helped stretch an 11-game home league record, which is the club's best unbeaten form in 13 years.
Thank you, David.
It's okay.
That was a stat we got sent yesterday, just so everybody knows that was a kind of personal joke there. Someone put it in the chat, but I think it was Reese. Reese showed it to Neely, and then I'd actually been sent it. I think that group of players should take a lot of credit for that. I think there's loads of different records that stats that you'll maybe accrue during the season, probably more negative than positive last year. So to see that, you wouldn't have thought that, eh? I don't look into this. I just look at the next game. To see that, I think that's brilliant. It's testament to the staff at the club and the players at the club. I play a small part in that, remember. Like, everybody looks at the manager, but generally we've got the same staff for last year. We've added Potsy, and the players should take Shoes credit. But it's a great start to have. It's a real positive for the football club and the group that's in the football club at this point.
Speaking on obviously taking the next one game at a time, Davey, do players, staff and fans maybe get lost in the bigger picture when a lot is focused on the here and now with the next game, and maybe don't realise how good it's been here at the home set, the Setfair Arena? I
think at times, us and our support, probably the group always together, we're probably very good at accepting the negatives. So you take responsibility, you take accountability, you have a moan about it. But see, when we actually achieve positive things, I think we kind of just keep it under the radar. We don't really speak about it as a group, especially in here. And even the fans, I think, we're just, because you're always kind of the underdog, does that make sense? You kind of, but we shouldn't be this year. We shouldn't be the underdog. We should be up there in the top four. So we're not the underdog this year. The remit coming into this season wasn't to not get relegated, which probably every year I've been at this club, bar League One, was the remit. Don't get relegated. So similar to League One season, you're going into that League One season, remember at Alloa, Brecon, Airdrie, ourselves. The remit was, we need to try and get back to the Championship. The remit here, we need to try and get back to the Premier League, doing that by hopefully getting top four. So I think as a club, we're no great at actually taking the positives. We always kind of seem to be more focused on the negatives and taking responsibility for the negatives. So I think it's something we can do better as a club, but that's probably based on momentum as well, is it not? A positive shift in that momentum.
Yeah, potentially.
You look at I remember the last game at Stranraer, remember here? The one that relegated us. It was a lot of...
That was a double
down there, back here. There was a lot of talks.
Well, yeah.
I know, but it's football. It's part of football, and I think it's easy to get immersed in the detail. It's got to be a wee bit pragmatic at times as well. And I thought it was a huge overhang coming into that League One season. But see, by the end of that League One season, Hoppy was the manager, I was the assistant manager, Cheb, Andy, we're all here. I think there was a huge shift in momentum and the positivity in the club. So it can be done, it has been done, and it's currently getting done again. I think we went on and broke a lot of club records that year. Most consecutive wins, most clean sheets, most goals, that type of thing. And hopefully that's the start that you mentioned earlier. Hopefully that's another positive in terms of this group. Now, it's not a one-off, that's us 14 games into the season.
Yep.
14 games into the season, and we've lost one game of football. One game of football in the league. We're going to lose games of football on this path, on this journey together. We're going to lose games, but I think that's a huge testament to the players. And hopefully fans can enjoy it, because that's kind of where I was going with it. Try and enjoy that victory. Try and enjoy the good times when you can.
All eyes are now on Airdrie, Davy, who are currently sitting bottom of the table, but that doesn't make the game any easier. What are you expecting for Reece and his team?
I think it's a tough game. He's got 2 or 3 players coming back in that's going to help him. I think it'll be a tough game. I think he's stuck to his philosophy, going through a bad run now. Been there myself, and you just need a wee bit of luck. A smash, a penalty, anything. You just need something to swing that, and hopefully it's not against us, but I'm sure they're more than capable of changing their fortunes with the personnel they've got within their own building.
Sometimes it just takes a result, whether it's a good result or a bad result, and sometimes a hard reset can be.
Bit of luck sometimes. I felt at times last year with ourselves, and I can resonate with Airdrie to a certain degree. I thought at times last year, I don't think we were overly bad in games, but you just came away with feeling unlucky. Now whether that's down to performance, consistency, or probably a wee bit of both, but I thought at times last year you're coming away for the game and going, how did we lose that? But you did lose that game of football. So there is an element of non-controllables within football. You try and control everything to the best of your ability, but there is an element of non-controllables that can have effect in the game. I speak about it quite a bit with staff and players. I think football's the only game of football, the only sport where you could good performance, dominate a game, and not pick any points up. I think there's very few sports that are very similar to football.
Danny Wilson started in the reserve game yesterday, and Ben Jackson made the bench. How are the guys coming?
Ben's probably 90 minutes in the reserves away from coming back into the squad. I think he needs built up, so he got the last 30 on yesterday. He's maybe now looking at getting the first half of the next game, then 60, then 90, then he'll probably be in a position where we feel he can return to the match day squad. Danny was out for a couple of weeks, felt he could play. He actually chapped my door. I wasn't going to play him because Clarkey had a wee niggle on Saturday. So there was a possibility that Danny might have been needed at left back going into this game. Clarkey's kind of recovered fairly well, but Danny tapped my door, and I thought the last thing I wanted on Monday when he tapped the door was Danny playing, Danny picking up an injury, and I had Danny and Clarkey. As it stands, Danny has to play. We played him in the left back area to get a wee bit more mileage in his legs as well. And Clarkey seems to be in a better place now. He's had 3 days rest, and Clarkey's in a much better place.
We've focused on a few individual players already, Davey, but Scott Pittman can make his 400th appearance this weekend. How crucial has it been for his return to form?
Do you know what? See, sitting talking about that. I remember sitting talking with Dave, and you're like 275 or something like that. That's a figure that sticks in my head. 400, that's incredible, eh? I think pound for pound, Scott Pittman's got to have been Livingston's best signing. £3,000 he cost us for bonus. He's got to be Livingston's best signing by a country mile. 400 games and counting, by the way.
So he's on 49 goals as well.
49, so that's what scores 1 in 10, 1 in 11, something along the lines, which is a no bad stat, to be fair. And when you throw in 6 years of that's in the Premier League.
1 in 8.
6 years of that's in the Premier League, which I think is a fantastic start. 1 in 8, is it? No. We'll see, none of our way at school. I just think he's potentially got 500 in him, isn't he?
He's still young.
Yeah, but he's definitely, Pitt's his engine. I think he's kicked on a wee bit this year. Coming down the levels helped Pitts find himself, because there's a lot of unselfish stuff that probably went unnoticed in the Premier League from all players. I think you look at Stevie May at St Johnstone, like you look at Gowser even. Gowser, I generally didn't think Gowser is as good as what he is. Like coaching him now and watching him every week, week in, week out, watching him at Livingston, I think now I can see why he played at World Cups with Australia. Stevie May, I generally, and I don't mean this disrespectful to Stevie, it was hard to see Stevie's attributes playing in the Premier League, sitting in a low block, one striker up top, balls in behind, very, very difficult. See, since he's come in, he's a much, much better footballer than I gave him credit for, a much, much better finisher than what I gave him credit for. And I think Pitts is similar. Pitts went a wee bit unnoticed due to his unselfish work with the group in the Premier League. Now dropping back down the league, I think you're now seeing Pitts' attributes of why we all loved him in League One and the Championship. Do you know what I mean? It's gave him a different platform. He's playing against an opponent that's, let's call, a similar level in terms of finances. You're asking me Pitts sometimes to go out and play against Callum McGregor, £30,000-40,000 a week, and it's difficult to do that at that point. So I think by coming back down, you're getting the best out of wee Pitts. But I do think he's got 500 games in him.